Have you ever stopped to think about what keeps your data from just, turning into a total disaster? What's stopping someone from creating a duplicate username on a website? Or what makes sure every online order actually has a customer attached to it? Well, the answer is this powerful set of rules working behind the scenes. So today, let's meet these unsung heroes, the guardians of your data, MySQL Constraints. Now, to really get why these guardians are so important, let's do a little thought experiment. Just imagine a world without them. What if your data had absolutely no rules? A world of just pure digital chaos. It would probably look a little something like this. A complete data Wild West. I mean, look at this. We've got two different customers with the exact same ID. We have another customer with no name at all, and someone whose age is a negative number. This data isn't just a little messy. It's totally unreliable, it's untrustworthy, and let's be honest, it's pretty much useless. How could you possibly run a business on this? You can't. And this is where our heroes finally enter the picture. MySQL constraints are that set of rules you apply to your tables to prevent exactly this kind of chaos. They are the guardians that enforce order, making sure your data stays accurate, reliable, and actually useful. Okay, so let's start with the most fundamental guardians out there. These are the ones that really form the bedrock of data integrity, the rules that demand uniqueness and completeness. First up is the NOT NULL constraint. Its job is super simple, but absolutely critical. It makes sure a column cannot be left empty. It's kind of like a required field on a sign-up form, right? You have to provide a value, no exceptions. And here's how you put it to work. When you're creating your table, you literally just add not null right after the column's data type. So in this example, both the ID and the name columns are now forbidden from ever being empty. Simple as that. So what happens when some rogue code tries to break this rule? Let's say it tries to insert a brand new customer but leaves the ID as null. Well, our little guardian here is going to step right in. And bam! Access denied. MySQL immediately throws a very specific, very clear error, telling you column ID cannot be null. The not null constraint did its job perfectly. It protected the integrity of our table. All right, next up we have the unique constraint. Now this guardian, it's a bit obsessed with originality. It makes sure that every single value in a particular column is different. No duplicates allowed, period. This is absolutely essential for things like usernames, email addresses, or even product serial numbers. Applying it is also super easy. You just add the unique keyword and then tell it which column to watch, right there in parentheses. So now our ID column not only has to have a value, but that value has to be totally one of a kind. Okay, so let's put this one to the test. Imagine a customer with the ID 1 already exists in our table. What do you think happens if we try to add another customer with that same exact ID? Yup, rejected again. The system fires back with another crystal clear error. Duplicate entry 1. The unique constraint just prevented a potential data identity crisis before it could even get started. Now, what do you think happens when you take these first two guardians, not null and unique, and you merge their powers together? Well, you get the most important, the most powerful constraint of them all, the primary key. This is the ultimate, non-negotiable, unique identifier for every single record in your table. So here's the big takeaway, the thing you really need to remember. A primary key is simply a combination of unique and not null. That's it. It's a 2-for-1 deal that guarantees every single row has an identifier, and that identifier is absolutely, positively unique. Seriously, every table should have one. Okay, so we've got the fundamentals down. Now, let's meet the next group of guardians. These are the more advanced rules that can handle complex logic, create relationships between tables, and even help automate some of our data entry. First up, meet the check constraint. I like to think of this one as your data's personal bouncer. It stands at the door with a clipboard and enforces a very specific rule, like, hey, you have to be over 18 to get in here. So let's say we've set a rule on our table that the age must be greater than or equal to 18. Now, if someone comes along and tries to insert a record for a customer who's only 16, the bouncer says, nope, not on my list. The system rejects the entry, telling you very clearly that the check constraint has been violated. This is just perfect for enforcing your business logic right at the database level. Next up is the foreign key. This is the relationship builder. It creates this powerful, logical link between two tables, and what it does is prevent what we call orphaned data. For example, it connects the customer ID in your orders table back to the primary key in your customers table, guaranteeing that every single order belongs to a real existing customer. And then we have the helpful assistant of the group, the default constraint. This one's pretty cool. If you don't provide a value for a column when you're inserting a new record, this constraint just fills one in for you. For instance, you could set a default shipping country to USA, which saves time and cuts down on data entry mistakes. And finally, let's pull back the curtain and meet the behind-the-scenes crew. Now, these aren't guardians that necessarily block bad data, but they're tools that work in the background to make your database smarter and a whole lot faster. First, you've got auto-increment, which is basically an automatic number generator. This is perfect for primary keys because it automatically assigns the next unique number to each new record, so you don't even have to think about it. Then there's Create Index, the super fast librarian. While it's not really a constraint that restricts data, it works its magic behind the scenes to create a special lookup that dramatically speeds up finding your data, just like an old-school card catalog in a library. So let's bring this all together. What have we learned? Well, constraints aren't just a bunch of tedious rules. They are the essential guardians of your data. They're what ensures accuracy, reliability, and integrity. They are what transform that chaotic data Wild West we saw at the beginning into a structured, organized, and totally trustworthy system. So I'll leave you with this final thought. From your social media feeds to your online banking, you interact with databases protected by these exact kinds of rules every single day. So the real question to ask yourself is, what rules are protecting the data that you rely on?